Welcome to Just a Few More Minutes podcast, where three veterans of the animation and video game industry talk about exactly that, animation and video games. I am Jeff Gabor. I am a supervising animator at Blue Sky Studios.
Look at that. Wow.
Yeah. Who are you?
That's Pixar, right?
Yeah, we make the Pixar movies.
So, Jeff, every episode you change it. Sometimes you say who we are, other times we have to introduce ourselves. I don't like it.
Which would you prefer?
Well, honestly, saying my name out loud doesn't sound right. So you say my name for me.
All right, I'm Jeff Gabor. I'm a supervising
You don't have to
animator at
say
Blue
your
Sky
name
Studios. Alongside me is Michael Berardini.
Hello.
And way out in bumfuck Egypt is Paquette.
Hello.
How about that?
Yeah.
Good? All right. We'll stick to that. We'll stick to that.
That's the best way.
All right.
Do you feel weird saying your own name?
No, I quite like it.
It's like, I always wonder how people say Michael so much, because it just like falls out of my mouth. It doesn't flow.
Michael.
Michael motorcycle. Turn on the key and watch him pee.
Sure.
Remember that one?
No.
A little. There was Michael Berardini, Bears a weenie, and it's like, you're right, accurate. I do have a dick.
Mm-hmm. When I think of Michael, I think of actually a video game, Moonwalker, and every time you, as Michael Jackson, find a little girl, she goes, Michael. That's it.
Michael.
Just a little girl? What about when he finds little boys?
He doesn't find little boys.
Oh, smart.
Marketing.
Smart.
A lot of little girls, though. All put away in little closets and windows. It's weird.
You guys got to hear this. This is a good email I got today from a student of mine.
Okay.
So they're in blocking phase and they're kind of going over to spline. It's the first time they've ever really done it. And I get an email from this kid and he's like, "Hey, my animation is all over the place now that I converted to spline. How do I fix it? Where do I find the answers to fix this?"
Welcome to animation, buddy.
Exactly.
That's
So
funny
I
right
had to kind of like go through the whole step-by-step process in this long email about
It's
like
the
how
worst.
you can't rely on the computer to do anything, blah blah blah.
Yep.
Anyway,
Well, that's why I block on 2s. And then sometimes 1s. And then you spline it, and the only thing that's changing are your subframes. And then when you get notes, everything goes wrong.
That's right. It's been a good experience, I think, working with you so far.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Can I have my review right now? No, let's...
Yeah, we're doing reviews different this year. Not to get too detailed, but I gotta figure out how to do that. Anyways, so I'm trying to decide. Anyways, so each episode, the three of us each get a word.
Oh, right.
None of us know each other's word. We each try to work it in. You can go onto YouTube or read the description on our page to find out each one of our words is, and you can play along and listen how we're trying to work in these stupid words.
Right.
Right.
Also subscribe on YouTube.
That would be great.
subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitter, etc., etc.
Exactly. So the extra bonus, as Pete was almost alluding to, is kind of every podcast starts with an animation tip of the week. Yeah. So this one, I always forget what I have said. So if I already said this one, please.
I mean, this is episode 34. There's only 34 animation tips in the universe.
I know. So they're bound to repeat now.
Yeah.
All right. So how not to get burnt out during extreme overtime,
I think we've
or
done
not
it.
get lost in it.
We've done it.
Have we really?
I think so. But maybe you have a new enlightening detail.
I remember touching on my process with dealing with that shit. But
Okay.
you go on.
Does this sound familiar?
Take on it.
Try to go through your day not expecting to work overtime. Set caps to what you're going to work and know that time limit is finite. Because I think the worst thing that happens, and it used to happen to me, and I see it to animators still, is when you get into extreme crunch, which inevitably happens at every studio eventually, or every film, I guess. your overtime becomes basically unlocked, right? Like,
Yep.
you can work as much as you want.
Freewheeling.
So your mind goes, well, I have unlimited time, and you basically put on the brakes during the day. Like, you start to realize, well, I got unlimited time. I'll just, whatever. Like I have to work fast now. Who cares? I'm just going to be working 12 hours today anyways. Or 13 or 14. I don't know. So you end up going so much slower than you would. And that's not the point of overtime. Although that rakes in a shit ton of money, and if that's your goal, then don't listen to this animation tip. But if you want balance to your life, make sure you set realistic goals and timelines and stay to them. And I think a lot of people could actually get away with increasing their workload without working even a second overtime by just setting goals each day and working towards that. So that means you'll find yourself checking the internet less or getting away from your desk more if you have a goal that you know you have to hit and you actually work steadily towards that daily goal rather than relying on unlimited hours.
Yeah, I feel like I know a few guys at work that basically refuse to do OT, and I can't actually speak for how they manage their time, but they've gone entire shows without doing any OT, still getting their shots in on time. So
Yep.
it's possible.
Riffing off that, it's also important if you're going to work overtime to charge the hours.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if we've ever touched on ghosting. Have we touched on ghosting? That's a huge one.
Yeah.
Because that is a major problem at a ton of studios. There's the problem that some studios don't pay for overtime, and that's, in my opinion, criminal. But, oh man, I'm still getting over this cough.
Yeah, you sound not that normal.
Is it normal that if I turn this is real, I know it's like turn your head and cough. Ooh, actually, maybe there is something to that. But I do.
You feel it in your balls?
And I don't feel it in my balls, but I immediately feel this lump in my neck, and it makes me feel like I immediately need to cough just turning my head to the left.
I don't know. That sounds like a you problem.
I'm turning my head, and I'm not having any desire to cough.
Well, this is just recent after my cold. It's like I have scar tissue in my throat from coughing too much.
I bet it's from coughing.
Yeah, that's right.
Rip some scan there.
Yeah, so the other problem is outside of at studios that actually do pay overtime is basically animators not clocking the overtime. Basically, they what is the real reason of that, right? Like, I think a lot of it stems from if you don't get approval to work overtime, you do it anyways. And
it's all about looking good to your superiors.
Right.
You want to do as much as you can, make it look like you did it shorter than the time it actually took you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is dumb, because that's going to bite you in the ass pretty quickly, because then they're going to expect you to work that fast all the time.
Yep, and it screws over your other team members considerably.
Now, how so? To somebody who doesn't know, how does it screw over the other team members?
Multiple ways. The I guess promotion-wise is that thing where that animator does end up looking good, and if the supervisors don't get information that that's actually happening, they can wrongly promote someone that's basically lying about their frames per week, their quota.
You don't want to lie. Lying's not good.
No, because eventually it will catch up to you, and your expectations of what you can do will be they'll be questioned. That sucks. That sucks. And then other people get passed up. The coordinators and PAs and production managers, they start saying, well, why isn't this person pulling in the frames? Why, like, this person's working twice as many hours and they're doing half as much work, and they start coming down on those people without the full picture that basically the other half of the team is cheating.
Yeah.
So then
I was just gonna say that I in the past I've been like compared to other people who I know were not charging overtime.
It happens. And then there's the production managing team. Every week it's part of their job to project the frames that the studio can pull in. And they have to talk to their higher-ups and make those projections. And when crunch time happens, they have to basically say, all right, if we're making this much now without overtime, with overtime we should be able to pull in this many frames. Well, if you've been lying this whole time, those projections are going to be way off because you can't possibly work even more overtime. So you're not going to be able to hit your quota, and the movie's not going to get done.
See, there's a snowball effect going on here.
Yeah, as you said, Pete, shit rolls downhill.
Yep, shit rolls downhill.
I mean, unless it's super sticky, then it just sits there.
I think that's most likely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of my poops would not roll anywhere. They just sort of plop there and sit.
But I feel like what the term really is, like when you think of like a dung beetle, you roll it in some grass or some extra like substrate, and then it can roll pretty good.
Substrate is your word.
It is not my word.
It's a word you pulled right out of your ass.
I like the word substrate. It's not my word.
Hey, Deb.
Hey, there's one of our special guests from last episode that everyone seemed to enjoy. Don't fucking speak. Just kidding. You can speak if you want to.
How's everyone favorite?
Shh.
You should tell her about the how we got more downloads last week because of them.
How about let's leave that to a treat. If she actually listens back to the episode, she can know that information.
Okay.
Well, now she knows she only has to listen 11 minutes into it.
Yeah, shit rolling downhill, substrate.
Speaking of shit rolling downhill, let's talk about last episode briefly.
Okay.
Sorry,
You want to talk about what we brought up randomly at the end of the episode?
No.
Oh, okay. Because we were supposed to come back about that.
Come back.
Well, we were bringing up the topic. Do we drop down to just one episode a month?
Hold on.
We don't want to talk about that.
We do after I say this thing.
Okay.
It was great having the wives on the show, but that was a last minute thing. So
It was.
we would love to have them back, Deborah. I mean Jeff's wife. But let's plan for it, and I feel like some of our listeners would very much be interested in what they would have to say about their work.
A female perspective.
Also a female perspective, sure.
I think actually if we had a female host, that would be kind of fun. But
So you're trying to get out of the podcast now? You're just gonna...
one of us needs to leave. It needs to stay to 3, but...
All right, bye.
See ya.
Are you gonna replace me with Lena Dunham?
Lena Dunham.
She would bring a perspective to this show.
She would, yeah.
Anyway, all right, go back to the other thing.
No, I'm done with shit rolling downhill.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, not the poop.
Oh yeah, do we drop
It's
down
already
to
hit the bottom of the hill.
one episode a month? I'm leaning towards no, let's keep it so the middle of the month can be a bunch of random bickering and basically fun stuff like with the girl episode. And then there's the idea that every other episode outside of the game of the month would actually could be a video game streaming episode, a Twitch. So we'll go ahead and still make it a podcast, but you can tune in to Twitch or YouTube or however we decide to stream, and you can play games with us.
See, me personally, I'm leaning towards that. Because the off weeks, we don't plan as well as we do the Game of the Month episodes.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm also trying to legitimize our podcast so it pays for my gaming habit. So far, it's not working out great.
Right.
Hey, it's not bad. We're a very modest podcast, and you got a free game out of it. So
It's true.
that's not bad. Figuring we're just scratching the surface of what could be a bigger thing.
It doesn't stop me from banging on all those fucking doors everywhere. I just hit up more people today for a second time and be like, hey, you ignored me. What's going on? But I didn't actually say that. So anyway, everybody, I don't know, tweet at us, leave comments on the YouTube to all you beautiful subscribers. Let us know what you want to do. What you think. They don't really care, I'm sure. We don't even release on the same day half the time.
I know, we've gotten bad about that.
Yes, we have. That's why also the once a month thing would be good, because it would always come out the same time every month.
On a Monday,
Yeah,
usually.
sure.
Anyways, this is our Game of the Month episode.
It is.
It is, at the end of the month. Let's see if anybody... I don't know how many people played it with us.
0.
0.
We have 0 comments.
And the
to go.
game is...
We're not talking
Blaster
about that
Master
yet.
0, though.
Yeah, but Blaster Master 0.
Yeah.
Master Blaster 0.
Yeah.
But look, Shaw's masturbating 0.
I don't know if you do.
I don't know either.
It's time for the news.
It's time for the
Music
news.
stopped.
That one little blurb. Boom, bling, ding, 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 ding.
What's happening, buddy? Oh, just turn the
So-
volume down.
Yeah,
Great.
it was loud.
Okay.
It's still loud.
No, it's not bad.
Not to me.
I hear it just enough.
Yeah. All right, Pete, let's go with this news. Come on, what's
All
new?
right.
Let's fucking get into it.
So this is cool. Did you guys play Carmen Sandiego growing up?
Yeah,
Not
I
even
did.
a little bit.
Did you
There is
watch
a-
it?
She had a TV show that I maybe sort of watched, but I don't have any real recollection of it from my childhood.
Actually, I think didn't they? I'll have to look this up because now I'm giving false news. But I think they were going to release all the old Carmen Sandiego episodes on Netflix.
Oh, really?
That would be smart
It would be.
to go online with the news that Pete is about to say right now.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Carmen Sandiego was a sensation back in the 80s to mid 90s. There was a series of games wherein World is Carmen Sandiego, wherein Time is Carmen Sandiego. There was another one too. I just can't remember what it was.
Where the fuck is Carmen Sandiego?
But a show spun off from it, and it was on PBS, I think, if I remember correctly. And it was an educational show.
It was. That show was fun, man. I watched it a ton. I
Yeah.
did. And then the theme
real
song.
amped about
Do you know the
this.
theme song at all?
I mean,
Yeah.
where is Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah.
Wait, that
Went
sounds
around the
like
world.
that
I don't
sounds
know
like
the rest of it.
Hanson. Were you just singing Mbop?
No. I
Sing
was
it
singing
again?
the theme song.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Dude, that is Hanson.
It does.
I think. Oh my god.
So, anyway, all this Carmen Sandiego talk. Netflix is coming out with a new show based on Carmen Sandiego that, unlike the games and the previous series, is actually going to dig into the origin story of Carmen Sandiego herself. And they will examine.
Dude,
How
wait, hold on, Pete. How close were you on this?
I don't know.
I can't hear it.
That sounds okay. Hold on, let me turn it up. You were friggin' close, man.
Why is the volume different for you than us?
What do you mean from?
Like,
Hey, this is pretty good.
it's pretty good. That's 2.5 minutes long. How long was the title sequence?
Pretty long.
It was a rockapella, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, this is like definitely a full-length version. It didn't go on this long.
Remember the guys who would sing this? They'd all at the end of the show, they'd be like, "Do it, rockapella!"
Yeah, yeah.
I remember that part.
Yeah, everybody used to sing that part.
I mean, not everybody.
All the cool kids.
Definitely not the cool kids. Just the kids that were sad and alone and were looking for Carmen.
So the first season will consist of 22-minute episodes, and that'll premiere in 2019.
2019. Oh, also, starring, I forget her name, but the actress is also in the upcoming Blue Sky film Ferdinand.
Gina Rodriguez?
That's the one. She plays Una the Hedgehog.
Which she's Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah, in the new show
Huh.
on Netflix.
I'm trying to picture that voice as Carmen. Carmen doesn't do a whole lot of talking,
I mean-
or shouldn't.
So, in reading that article, Pete, Carmen Sandiego is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is the main character of the show if they're always chasing Carmen Sandiego?
You're the player.
Yeah, the
No, but
player's
it's
always-
on the TV show. Is it like Adora the Explorer
No,
where they
it's
talk at the screen?
The original TV show was a family. Wait, are we talking about the new TV show?
No.
The original TV show,
Yeah, the one that you
it's
know.
a game show. It was 3 contestants would get clues and try to find out where she is.
What? No,
Yeah.
there was an animated show, wasn't there?
There was. I don't know much about it, though.
All right, well, that is my only touchstone for Carmen Sandiego. I feel like it was probably a group of, like, multi-ethnic kids chasing after
Right,
her.
like the kids of
like
Captain
going
Planet.
to carnivals and like partying at aquariums and stuff.
Mm.
You know,
Makes sense.
like merry-go-rounds at carnivals and stuff.
I don't know. I think it might be cool to hear the perspective from a thief who's like tells stories about how she almost got caught. That would be cool.
Totally.
I don't know how you can sustain it.
Cool
though.
hat. A
Yeah.
real big hat. Her red hat.
She has a big hat.
Maybe she'll take it off, and that's when you know it's getting serious.
She's not the most conspicuous person. Like giant hat and big red clothes and pretty good looking body.
Whoa!
I've never seen Carmen Sandiego's body, so I can't attest to anything.
Come on, you can imagine what it looks like under that trench coat. It's
Well, I
pretty
can imagine
tight.
There's nothing under that trench coat.
What? Fuck, that's hot. She's just like, you found me. Schwang, I'm a boy.
That's how she gets away.
Alright, well, I'm tepidly awaiting that Netflix show.
You suck at this game.
What?
Tepidly?
That's not my word.
That's gotta be your
It's
word.
not my word.
All right.
You're the one that said sublimate or whatever earlier.
All right.
So, last episode we
I
talked
need a
about
cough
the.
button. Yeah, go ahead.
Last
Yep,
episode
what,
we- we- Last episode we talked about the blunder that Nintendo pulled, saying they were going to discontinue the NES Classic.
Yeah.
Well, in a surprise to no one, the system has almost doubled, like over doubled in price on
Yep.
eBay now.
Yeah,
Of course.
I've noticed that.
In March, it was averaged at around $143, and in April, it is averaging at $350.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So,
Are you going to sell yours, Pete?
no, I'm gonna keep it.
I know for, like everybody that like stocked up because they were one of those items that everybody would buy right before Christmas so they could sell it at a high price.
Yep.
The people that stocked up when Nintendo canceled it, their stock shot through the roof. I'm sure they freaked out and loved it because now they're all selling their 100 versions of the games that they are not games but systems they bought, and now they're just making a killing on eBay.
Yeah,
Pisses me off.
Nintendo could have had all that money.
Yeah. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It's unfortunate.
No, I've always understood like Nintendo's a master of doing the supply and demand thing where they choke supply so they can increase the demand. But then not to ever bring back the supply. What the fuck is the point of that?
Well, speaking
Yeah.
of, the end of this month is the last supply of the NES Classic.
Yeah, I'm not getting it. There's no way I'm getting it.
I'll try. I think I heard that Best Buy is going to have stock on Friday, so I'll check out online to see if I can get one there. If I do get one, I'm fucking reselling it.
Yeah, right? $300?
Because then I'll just use $300 to buy all 30 of those games and 30 more when the virtual console comes out on the Switch.
Yeah.
That's my plan.
So riffing off that, Eurogamer reported that a NES Classic Edition is on the way. Should be coming out in time for Christmas this year. So it'll be the same old shit as last time.
Yeah, but that one
Can't
I'm
imagine.
actually going to try for. Maybe.
Yeah, me
Like-
too.
Did they announce what games are going to be on it yet?
No, it's still
No.
rumored. It's not
Oh.
official yet.
But could
Oh,
you
okay.
imagine?
So many
you-
good
like-
stuff, man.
It's like
Well, what would be your list? Obviously, it's got to be Super Mario World and
Link to the Past.
Link to the Past,
Link
right?
to
That
the
was
Past.
one.
Super
Me-
Metroid.
Yeah.
Super Metroid, Mega Man X, maybe.
Yep. Punch Out
Chrono-
was fun.
Chrono
Yep.
Trigger.
Ooh, yeah, Chrono Trigger.
There's a lot of like RPGs that I never got to play that would be a good way to play it. I think like Secret of Mana is one of them that I never played.
Secret of Mana, yeah.
I mean, I
Final
don't-
Fantasy 3.
Star Fox.
Oh, shoot, man. I forgot. Oh, in Donkey Kong Country, holy cow.
Yeah, there's
Ninja
a lot of good
Turtles.
stuff on there.
The Turtles in Time one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what else?
It would be stacked. It's very easy to stack the deck on this one.
Yeah, I feel like 30 would be way too few. But that's how a lot of people felt for the NES Classic. But
It was. They missed a ton of, like, just the best games in history.
didn't they not, like, Isn't Mega Man 2 or 3 renowned as the best and they didn't include that one or something?
Yeah, they included Mega Man 2.
Just Mega Man 2?
I think 2 is considered like everybody's favorite, but like I think 3 is the best.
I mean, why not just include 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's silly.
So, did you guys see the Battlefront 2 trailer?
It did. What? Was that a grunt for you don't like the trailer? You didn't see it?
I'm not a... Oh, Battlefront. I was thinking of the other one.
Battlefield?
Battlefield, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the naming conventions here.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
Yeah, it's getting a campaign.
Yep. That should be cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at that.
I'm excited, but it's also... Like, they have a legit story Star Wars game coming, and I don't really want to play a first-person shooter Star Wars game with the story. I don't know why. I'm not super interested in it. But also, that story Star Wars one is being written and I think creatively headed by Amy Hennig, who started the Uncharted series.
Is it still EA doing that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what studio she's at. But then also the Respawn guys that made Titanfall, they're also working on a Star Wars game with EA. So there's a shit ton of Star Wars stuff. But Battlefront, the one thing that interests me is the campaign is all from the perspective of a girl on the Empire. So you're playing as the bad guys, Jeffrey.
Did they announce what girl? Or you're just a random girl?
It's just like a random infantry person.
Because I was going to say...
It's not anybody well known.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like whatever the silver chick is.
No.
Oh, fuck. Maybe it could be.
I mean...
You mean Captain Phasma?
Yes, yeah.
Well, she doesn't look at all like that actress, but we haven't actually seen that actress in the movie.
No, yeah.
Wait, did we?
No, definitely not.
Didn't Finn make her take her helmet off?
This is in your dreams, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, alright. You don't watch Game of Thrones, so you have no recollection of what that actress even looks like in the first place.
No.
Alright. Well, the girl in the trailer does not look like Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. I guarantee you every single person listening to this podcast watches Game of Thrones, except for you fuckwords.
Pete, you don't watch it either?
No.
I just assumed, in the middle of that sentence, I was like, I hope Pete doesn't watch this, but I just knew he didn't.
What, something new that everybody likes? Fuck you.
Pete is literally now the oh yeah, that can be Pete. He's the 40-year-old hipster.
That's your new intro for him. Bumfuck Egypt. It's the 40-year-old hipster, Pete Paquette.
Happy birthday again, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Happy birthday. I legit thought your birthday was like 2 weeks ago, and then I thought it was last Saturday, and then I realized it was Monday because of Facebook, so I was all over the place.
I do that on purpose to confuse everyone.
You son of a bitch.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. So earlier this year, Nintendo showed off a 2D version of Breath of the Wild so they can conceptualize game mechanics and stuff like that. Somebody went to Game Maker Studio. They went into Game Maker Studio and started making their own 2D Zelda based off the Breath of the Wild. It's called the Breath of the NES. Surprisingly hasn't been taken down yet, so you can still download it.
Because it's just a trailer, right? Like, they can't take them down just for a fan-made trailer, right?
No, it's a game.
I don't think so. I think
Demo.
A playable demo? I don't...
Yeah. You download EXE files.
Oh, that's
all right.
scary.
Okay, well, I take it back then.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it's still up to. It has to be taken down soon. Nintendo's crazy about that.
Well, just the fact that they took down the other versions of the, like the Legend of Zelda, where the guy tried to make it slightly more 3D. Do you Do you remember that?
yeah,
version?
yeah.
And they immediately took that down. It's like the guy probably worked on it for years and it's like, yeah, it's gone.
Yep.
Poor bastard.
And all the Pokemon like games that they made, like Pokemon, I don't know, Sapphire or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why people spend so much time on stuff that's.
Well, whatever happened to Pete? Like we were talking about, like it was supposed to come out last Christmas. There was the guys that were completely redoing and like a sequel to Link to the Past.
Oh yeah, that 2D
Ocarina. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I'll look it up real quick.
Because that just like disappeared.
Probably because it got
That's what I was
hit
thinking.
by Nintendo. This NES Breath of the Wild thing looks pretty cool though. It's got all sorts of physics and stuff.
I gotta say, there's nothing here saying they are out of business.
Well,
Their project process is at 20%.
Well, 20%. I guess they're not going to make Last Christmas.
When did they last update? Do they have a blog or anything?
I don't see anything. Oh, wait a minute. Update log.
Here we go. There's the juicy bits. Look under that skirt, Pete. Just find out.
No date.
That game's not coming out. That's that.
Yeah.
It did look cool, though. Oh, well.
It
I mean,
did.
they all look cool. Like, some dude recreated, I don't remember, the Temple of Time from Ocarina in the Unreal Engine. Looked pretty nice, too. But it's all just like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Although, on the other side of that, Steve Gaynor, the guy that created Gone Home, and then is now working on, what's it called, Tacoma? He got his start in games by making mods for, I don't remember, some dumb game.
I think they're definitely a great way to get an education.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, yeah.
So then he got a job at, Pete, who made Bioshock 2? 2K Marin or something?
Yeah, that was 2K Marin.
Yeah, so he came on in the middle of Bioshock 2 and got promoted pretty quickly and was the head of one of the DLC things on Bioshock 2, Minerva's Den, that was supposedly really good, and then that's how he got money to make Gone Home, and then he blew up. So that's pretty cool. So I guess that's why. Just don't do it with Nintendo stuff.
Yeah. Not wise.
Yeah. So, did you guys see the trailer for The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I forgot. We didn't even talk about that.
I know. I was telling Mindy that, and she's like, "You guys didn't talk about that yet? What are you, stupid?"
Yeah, we're way behind the curve on this one. But that was awesome.
It was awesome.
I mean, I wasn't blown away by it. I'm going to be totally upfront with you right now. It was a good trailer. It didn't give away a whole lot, which I actually appreciate. A lot of really nice shots on there. And it is technically just a teaser. I am definitely teased, but I wasn't like emotional like I was after the first teaser for Force Awakens.
I agree with you that the one thing the trailer did make me worried about is that it feels like it is going to do the same Star Wars formula again.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? I felt like, they had the TIE fighters, they had it, the ground troop stuff. So I'm worried it's going to be the same thing where it's like story, and in the last part of the movie, it's like, all right, there's shit happening in space, there's stuff happening on the ground, and there's something intimate between two characters, and then they all happen together, and the movie's over.
Okay, so general structure of that, maybe. But, that's how you make cool tension when you got space battles, people on the ground, and then emotional conflict and stuff, too.
I would just like to see some twist, some Star Wars twist to that where it doesn't have to be that trilogy of exact things of an A story, a B story, and a C story, all being the exact same thing. Space, ground troop, intimate scene.
Well, I will say I've read and listened to a lot of commentary about this trailer so far, and everyone is saying that this seeds an idea that this will be vastly different than what people are expecting.
Everybody's expecting
the last line of the trailer, where Luke says, "The Jedi must end," or whatever.
Right.
which is a crazy line if you think about it.
It is.
Was that
it
Luke?
is. It was Luke, yeah.
It didn't sound like it to me.
Yeah, he's like an old dude now.
But you're talking about expectations. I feel like everybody's expecting to see Luke die.
Oh, really? I don't think so.
You don't?
No, he'll die in the third one if he dies. He's Yoda now. Yoda dies in Return of the Jedi, not when he's introduced.
Yeah, you're right.
And then there's the whole controversy with Leia.
What do you do?
Yeah.
We've seen what they do.
No, they've... Disney has said that they're not going to digitally recreate her for the rest of this trilogy. And apparently she had all of her shots filmed for this movie and apparently the third one. But then recently they've come out and said that... I think they said that she's not going to be in Episode 9 now. So maybe there's some writing happening where she gets a nice send-off and this one she doesn't die. Maybe she does. I don't know. But I don't know. It's all very interesting. I'm excited.
Yeah. That's like seeing Philip Seymour Hoffman like 5 years later.
Yeah. In like an indie movie that took forever to come out.
Yeah. That's weird. Well, because he kept being in the Hunger Games movies. It's like, no, you died 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah. And like in the last one, he was barely in it. He's just like awkwardly standing in the background.
Yeah.
It's like, you died, but you're just a background character right now. It's awkward. There's a lot of cool shots in that.
Opioid abuse. Serious problem in this country.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's his name is in charge of it now? Just watched John Oliver last night.
Oh, yeah. The Kush.
Ivanka's boy.
Yeah, Jared Kushner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
It's okay. Just stop looking left.
Yeah.
So last piece of news, fellas.
Yep.
It was announced today that after a Kickstarter blunder back in last year, they are actually releasing Night Trap physically for the PS4 and Xbox One.
What? Really?
Yeah. Upscaled version, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Upscaled. Really?
I saw clips of it. It looks really good. Like,
okay.
It's just like there's things you just didn't see back then.
Like nipples?
Yeah.
Instead of it being like a pixelated square, it'll actually look like a nipple now?
Maybe so.
For those that don't know, Night Trap was the most infamous game on the Sega CD.
Catch me up on it more. I genuinely have no idea. I saw it on Twitter, but it means nothing to me.
It was pulled down because it was too risque. It was like one of the leading games that...
It was Congress or something. Congress got involved in.
Yeah, to lead the whole like revolution in like game ratings and whatnot. It's like, oh my god, you see basically... it promoted... For what I remember, it promoted like basically looking at games and rape. Like it talked about rape in a game.
Yeah.
So
because of that one scene in Night Trap.
Yeah. So it got banned, which then made it infamous. So obviously the infamy lives on, the fact that it can then be re-released some 25 years later.
Yep. So
We should probably help plug this computer in and not lose everything.
I was looking at the 20%.
Yeah, let me do that. Keep going.
I was going to say that it looks really good as far as like the quality.
So did they get
it's
like
not going to be like shitty granulated video anymore.
Yeah, I assume they got like the original footage and rescanned it in like 4K or whatever, like they do with most film restorations.
Yeah.
Or something.
And you can also download the song. There was a song. Jeff probably remembers it.
Well, he can't hear you, so sing it for me, Pete.
Here, Jeff, remember the song from Night Trap?
No, I actually never got to play it.
Night Trap. That's all I know.
That's good.
Well,
but you can download it for free at their game site that they just put up. But limited run games is they actually release like historically they release physical copies of downloadable games. So I'm assuming that if you don't get your hands on a physical copy, there will be a downloadable game available too.
Crazy.
And then the physical ones will be on eBay for literally cheaper than they paid for it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm still bummed. I wish I would have held back 24 hours and got a physical copy of Breath of the Wild.
Why?
That game, Zelda. Like, I want a physical copy of Zelda to hold on to.
No.
You want to trade?
I don't have a physical copy.
Oh, you don't.
I'm all digital, man.
You don't have any regret not having something tangible for Zelda?
Not even a little bit, man. It's fucking like 1 centimeter by 2 centimeters big. I would lose that as soon as I took it out of my Switch. Then you'd have a sad box with no game inside of it. And there's not even an instruction manual. It's just a waste of plastic.
Oh man, speaking of which, have you guys played the Dragon's Trap yet?
No.
No.
Man, it is so beautiful. I can't stress that enough. It's just,
I was waiting to see what our game of the month was, and I'm only going to download one of those two options.
it's one of the best animated games I've ever seen.
It has got some solid ass stuff. Like, our buddy Drew has it, and I just played like 5 minutes on his Switch at work one day. And you can like switch between the original and the new HD version, like on the fly. And it's like, wow, you guys made that game look fucking gorgeous. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, and the gameplay is pretty fun too. They didn't really mess with anything. It's like literally all they did was just put new graphics on it, on the original game.
Here's my question about HD remakes like that for you, Pete, that hopefully you'll know because you are in game development and you've also played that game. Do they change the hitboxes? Because it seems like the sprites don't match up 1-to-1, so...
I don't know the answer to that question for this particular game because since they switched from 8-bit to that on the fly...
Right.
I imagine the hitboxes are just really polished versions of the sprites themselves.
Yeah.
But
because I'm always just really curious when it's literally just it appears to be a HD gloss on top of it, if they actually go in and change code or not. I don't know.
I would assume they would, but I guess we don't know that. Seems like a lot of work not to do that.
Not to do it. I mean, I feel like it would save time if you redid all your artwork really carefully to adhere to those things. Then you don't have to do anything except the art.
well, in Game Maker, you can actually tell it to run off the alpha channel, like basically make the hitbox the alpha channel.
That's insane. I didn't know that. That's cool.
That is cool.
Or something like that.
I'll just say Blaster Master Zero could have used that. A little taste of terror.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to do my ratings of it. I gotta do that.
Just do it on the fly, man.
I'll do it on the fly.
Do it on the fly.
So
That's all the news, gentlemen.
should I jump into the top 6, or it's already 40 minutes in? Should we just do...
Nah, do your top 6, man. We always save that to the end.
I don't like that. That was your voice. That was an eye roll personified into your stupid voice.
Yeah.
Your stupid, upsetting voice. So, last episode, we sort of reviewed the Ghost in the Shell remake. So, I want to... Oh, Pete's not even... All right.
No, you're talking...
Oh, you're there.
I'm just leaning back in my chair now.
You lean so far back, you lean back out of frame.
I thought you were just like, all right, he's going to talk for 5 minutes now. So we talked about Ghost in the Shell, and I know I'm next to two guys that don't really give a flying fuck about anime, but I wanted to give a top 6. What?
I feel like that's probably like a horrible paintbrush to paint me with.
But it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
But as an animation supervisor, you think you would have an animation supervisor that has respect for all animation.
I mean, I would hope so, yeah, but mine doesn't, so I'm going to try to educate him right now.
Now, does Miyazaki count as anime?
Technically, yes, but
Technically?
I feel like Miyazaki...
He's too mainstream, man.
No, I just feel like he's like his own entity. His movies are like literally, I don't know, I feel like everybody can watch those and enjoy them, and I think they're a great entry point into anime, but I also feel like you're not going to find much other anime similar to that.
Okay.
With that said, Miyazaki is like one of my favorite directors of all time. These are 6 anime movies that like are not going to be the top 6 that you always see listed on like the 10 most influential anime movies like Akira and Ghost in the Shell and whatever. I wanted to give you guys some more personal favorites of anime that are maybe lesser known than Akira and whatnot. And sorry, apologies to anyone that actually does know anime. They'll know all 6 of these very quickly and easily. But for idiots like Jeff, he'll be like,
I'll see if I even have heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so coming in at number 6.
BoJack Horseman.
No. Summer Wars.
No, never heard of it.
I believe it won the Japanese Academy Awards Best Film like 2-3 years ago. Maybe it was longer than that, 5 years ago.
Know?
But it's basically about like I always compare it to Digimon the movie, but I'm sure that'll be lost on both of you too. But basically, there's like a big online presence similar to like Second Life or whatever, where everybody has their online persona, and it gets accidentally hacked by this.
Like Ready Player One.
Yeah, similarly, yeah. But it gets hacked accidentally by this high school student because he gets texts like a random math equation, and he's like a bit of a genius, and he doesn't know what it is, but he spends all night figuring it out on his phone, and then he like sends it, and then that he accidentally like hacks the entire online world basically, and it's mixed with like him fucking figuring out what he did and trying to fix it while he is at this girl he goes to school's like house for a family get together.
It's one of those.
Yeah, it's a romantic comedy with real stakes. It's really cool. Give it a watch.
Like food steaks, like meat steaks, like steaks you
were almost
fire.
There. You should have
you
done
put on fire like an
chopsticks.
arsonist.
Chopsticks.
The chopsticks.
Arsonist, is that your word?
You're only allowed to choose once.
All right. So Summer Wars, give it a watch. It's good. Number 5, Tekken King Crete. Look at that stupid face on your face.
Tekken Crete. I don't know what that is.
I honestly have no fucking idea what the title even means.
Tekken.
Either.
That's like a fighting game.
Well, that's with an E. This is Tekken. Anyway, I don't know what the title means. It's basically about two brothers in like this crazy carnival town. That one's named Black and one's named White, and they're like, what's it called? Like
racist?
No, little rats, like city rats. What are they called? Little scamps that scurry about.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Artful Dodgers.
Yeah, yeah. And basically, they get caught up in like crazy yakuza business, and it's a very weird, trippy movie. But the reason I include it is because it's visually super duper impressive. The opening shot in the movie is just like this tracking shot with a bird as it flies through the city, but it's got like this really warped fisheye lens. And I'll show it to you at work for stuff. But it's like really cool. The style is really awesome. And it's done by my favorite anime studio, besides Ghibli, Studio 4 Degrees Celsius. They make a lot of cool stuff.
I have heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah.
They got a lot of really dope ass shit. Oh, another interesting thing about Tekken King Crete, directed by an American, which is really bizarre for most anime. And it's based on a manga called Black and White, I believe. Anyway.
I've always had troubles watching anime movies at work because I'm always worried that boobs are going to come on.
Well, okay, so that's...
Yeah, or tentacles out of like vaginas.
That's because all you watch is hentai.
No, that's not true. I was watching Goggo 13, and all of a sudden he's just like, you know who Goggo 13 is?
No.
You know the NES game, right, Jeff?
No.
Goggle 13?
Golgo.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Golgo.
Well, it comes from an anime, and the anime is basically like a James Bond anime, so it's what you expect, just spies, killing. And
Oh, are you talking
sex.
about? Well, you know what you're talking about. So, I will say,
It's a nice way of saying to go fuck yourself.
no, I've never heard of it. I thought maybe you were talking about Castle of Cagliostro, and I was mixing up my words. So, I believe you, Pete. You're a beautiful person with a beautiful heart. And a lot of these movies I wanted to include because, like, Akira and Ghost in the Shell are great movies, but they do have those, like, boobs that pop out. Like, that is legit the reason why I watched Ghost in the Shell originally. Because I heard that there were titties in it, and I was gonna jack off to it. And then it turned out she was a weird robot, and that did not turn me on. And then I got sucked into the movie.
Which reminds me of a story about Pete.
Okay.
This was after he no longer worked at Blue Sky, but
I just want to say I was like 12.
so years after Pete left Blue Sky, I get an email and he says, "Don't ask me what I looked up to find these, but here they are." And he sent me 3 images of Linda and Tullio basically having sex from Rio. And the couple of them were like
in blue.
well, they were for the most part on model. Some were like more fleshed out, I guess you could say, than others, but all of them were very disturbing.
Oh yeah, I forgot I did that.
Yeah, he painted them.
It was me.
I did get a kick out of it that somebody liked the first Rio enough that they wanted to fantasize about those characters.
Yeah.
Or thought that there was a market for others to fantasize.
Hey man, rule what, 34? If it exists, there's porn for it. That's an internet rule. You know what I'm saying?
There's
Yeah.
got to be some... no. I was
There's
gonna
gotta
say,
be some Carmen San Diego shit.
I'm telling you, underneath...
Jeff has definitely thought about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this whole list is supposed to be San's boobs and stuff. Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. That was gonna be a really good transition. Anyway, number 4 is Sword and the Stranger, which is just like a samurai and a little boy and a dog, and it's a very simple story. Samurai doesn't want anything to do with anybody, except he's very obviously an awesome samurai, but he will never unsheath his blade. But then, you know, him and the boy create a bond, and they're like becoming best friends, and then by the end...
He shows him his sword. Great.
Oh, God. That turns out weird. He has to protect the boy from this bad guy, and that's when he unsheaths it.
Don't tell anybody or you get in trouble too.
Oh, Jesus. It's literally one of the best fight scenes in, like, all of anime. The climax of that movie.
This sounds
The
awful.
climax of The Sword and the Stranger. The sword in the stranger.
Why do I try? Okay. Number 3 is... Have you guys heard of Satoshi Kon?
Not a chance.
No? That's
No.
too bad. He's like a really, 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 really well-renowned anime director that unfortunately passed away like 5 years ago. I don't remember why. Maybe he killed himself, maybe not. That might not be cool of me to say if he didn't. Just anyway, he made super, super adult animated movies, not tentacle porn, not porny at all, but just like very mature adult storytelling. And this movie by his is my favorite. He did a lot of really good movies, but Perfect Blue is basically about...
I heard of that one.
Have you?
Yeah.
Because Darren Aronofsky has said Black Swan with Natalie Portman was very, very, very much influenced by Perfect Blue.
I wonder if that's why I heard of it.
I assume so. Basically, it's about a retired pop star. She was in like a Destiny's Child type situation but she's no longer doing that. And I think she's trying to become an actress or something. And she has like this really weird stalker that keeps showing up. And it's basically like the whole movie, you're not entirely sure if it's actually happening, if it's in her head, if she's going crazy. And by the end, like, shit goes bizarre. And it's really crazy and fucked up and interesting and cool. Very adult. I watched most of these pretty young.
You still need to pass me Ghost in the Shell so I can see it.
I mean, you still need to watch fucking Arrival and give it back to me. You only get one disc at a time.
All right. Yeah, but that one's rented to Deb and I, which is why it hasn't been watched.
No, Deb has to watch Ghost in the Shell too. She'll love it. She'll just love it.
She'll love going to sleep. Yeah.
That's how you get to watch it.
She'll declare it stupid and go to sleep.
That's my. I hate that.
and that's when Jeff swoops in.
That's why Deb can't be on the show for the game of the month, because Resident Evil, she just summarized it with, it was stupid.
Yep.
Okay. Number 2 is a movie that just came out last year and is just now being released in America in theaters, called Your Name, which is a really weird title, and it's hard to find stuff on the internet about it because Your Name is a weird thing to type into. That's why there's a period at the end of it. Anyway, it's basically about a boy and a girl. I think the girl lives in a village, the boy lives in like Tokyo or whatever, and somehow, seemingly, every night they swap bodies. So the boy wakes up in a girl's body. The first thing he does is grab his boobs after being confused and everything. And then the girl, like, they have no idea what's going on, and then they go through these lives like they're a dream. Eventually they realize what's actually happening. They start having to leave notes for each other to, like, because they don't have any memory of what happened in their life, so when they come back to their body, like, you know, the boy
reminder, take out your tampon.
Yeah. I feel like that was touched on too. But like,
no toxic shock here.
When the boy goes into the girl's body, he's like hitting on girls at school, and now everyone thinks that she's a lesbian and stuff. But then she comes back and she's like all shy and timid and everything, and everyone's really confused. And then it's got very interesting climax. It's just such a weird concept that we would never ever get to make a movie like that. And in Japan, it's like, it was the #1 movie of last year.
Yeah, that part is sad, that the American, like, moviegoers will never watch, okay, not never, but almost never watch a true adult animated movie that's not a comedy.
Yep. It sucks, because, like, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do in animation that doesn't have to be funny.
Yep. Agreed. But, see, that's where, like, Brad Bird, you know, like, his whole thing with, like, animation is not a genre.
Yep.
To the American moviegoers, it is absolutely a genre.
Yeah.
You can say what you want, but to them it is.
Okay, so, number 1.
Number 1. Hold on. We got...
At number 1, coming in is... Can you hear me? Okay. Mind Game. I'll never get over how long that drum roll is. It's really frustrating. Okay, so Mind Game is another movie from Studio 4 Degrees Celsius by one of my favorite directors that is doing like a shit ton of stuff. I think he has 2 movies coming out this year. Masaaki Uwasi, I forget his name now, so whatever. Anyway, Mind Game.
Nobody here is going to call you on it.
I know. But I want you all to watch these movies and tweet at me what you thought of them. Be open-minded. Have some fun. Mind Game basically is a really weird movie that is about a guy that is trying to go out with this girl. Oh, also, this movie is funny, and it does have big boobs and stuff.
That's why it's number 1.
But it's hilarious, because this guy like really wants to date this girl, but he's so timid, and then a gangster busts into the restaurant, and then he shoots Shinji in the asshole because he's like cowering and like on his knees, and then he puts the gun in his butt and shoots him, and he dies. But then he goes to heaven and meets God, and it's just this thing that's like flipping through all these images because like it's just trying to find something that he can attach God to, like an image. And then he's like, after a lot of really cool talking and stuff, he's like, "Do you want another chance?" And he's like, "Sure." So then he gets sent back, and then he's like Mr. Brave and everything. But then eventually he gets stuck in a, in a whale because he gets chased by all the Yakuza, and they drive off a bridge or whatever in a car into a whale with the girls. And then they meet this old guy in there, and then they just live in the whale for a while.
Dude.
And then, also, has the greatest animated sex scene of all time. It's super artistic,
better
super
than
funny.
Anomalisa?
Okay, so the exact opposite of Anomalisa. That was super realistic and had lots of nice mouth effects. Yeah. This has, like, every color in the rainbow all at once. And it's a crazy, crazy cool movie. So, also, it's on Kickstarter right now because the movie has not officially been released in America, I don't think. But the Studio 4 Degrees Celsius wants to put it on Blu-ray for the whole world, so they have a Kickstarter right now to get enough funds to self-produce a Blu-ray. Also, now that I'm saying it, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix Instant. So now you have no excuse not to watch it.
That's a weird one to put on.
I mean, it's a fucking awesome movie, man. It's so fun. It's so weird. So that is my top 6, everybody.
Good job, Michael.
There you go. Top 6 obscure anime
This
stuff.
is great. I will. I'm
gonna look it up if it's on Netflix.
That last mind game thing reminded me. When I was a kid, I used to think that when I died, I'd have to be forced to rewatch my entire life again.
Mm-hmm.
And so at that moment, when I realized I'd have to watch it over, I would start to do random things to then entertain my future dead self watching it, so that person wouldn't be bored.
It's fucked up, man. That reminds me of Garden State. Mm-hmm. You know, Natalie Portman. She's like, no one's ever done anything like this in this very moment.
Right.
This is adorable.
It is true. Yeah. It's a very similar thought process. It's like you want to string together words that nobody else has ever possibly strung together.
Yeah.
It's like for that moment, you're unique. And then you realize every time you need to attach a new gamer tag to yourself and you think you can be creative, you realize how uncreative the entire world is.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing you can think of that hasn't been already picked outside of adding a million numbers and X's and weird spelling to stuff.
Yeah. The sad thing is when I made my gamer tag, you know, there's all sorts of possibilities, but I stuck with BMX Ride 437.
I'm still quite happy that on Xbox I am Jaggy Man.
Yeah, that's good.
That shows I was an early adopter. That I got something that has no messed up lettering or numbers, or I like it. Makes me feel proud.
How many people want to
Mine's
be
Kitty Kari.
Yeah, I like yours.
But you're an adult, Pete. You're not a kid.
Well, that's your opinion, man.
It's true. You're a kid at heart.
So, Blaster Master?
Yep, at 1 hour in, let's get to the meat and potatoes.
All right, now, just for the breakouts, can we have a legit beginning and an end?
Yeah.
Because every time we break it out, it's like, well, I guess this is where we'll start because we just go into it.
Sure, let me start it.
Intro it.
Just a few more minutes, and this is our game of the month. Nice. Blaster Master 0.
Oh, it's that time.
So we didn't get as big of a response this month in terms of people playing along with us.
Literally no one.
Okay. So it didn't really appeal, but it was a super slow month in terms of something that we wanted to give people an opportunity to at least play a short game with us while we know everybody's actually still playing Zelda.
Yeah.
So it didn't work. People are still playing Zelda.
Yeah, story of my life. I legit picked it up. Okay, so I played a little bit of it on the plane like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, okay, this is fine. But then Zelda took me full force for forever. Got to get all those shrines, you know?
Yep.
And then, like, I started playing Blaster Master 2 days ago. Cruised through it.
It is a fast game, so was it worth it for people to basically leave Zelda behind? That's what we're here to discuss.
It is. Do you want my answer?
Yeah. Speak up. What was it worth you to leave Zelda?
You know, when you're playing Zelda, you don't want to play anything else. But once I started playing Blaster Master, at first I got real frustrated and annoyed and pissed off, and I wanted to play Zelda some more. But the more time you spend with it, the less frustrated you get with it. You just got to get in the groove with it. You got to understand that it's actually a very, very old game.
Yeah, okay, so Pete, maybe you got any other details, but when I bought the game and started playing it, I had no idea it was a reskin.
Yeah, well, to an extent, it's a reskin.
Yeah, to an extent, but as soon as I loaded up the first level and recognized it, and then went, over to the screen right and saw the water, and then started to feel like, oh wait, everything is the same. It really was disappointing because I thought I was getting a new Blaster Master.
I should have told you.
It's fine, but it introduced just a little bit of disappointment right away. So I think my curve went in a similar route to Michael as I started playing and I was disappointed, and then it started coming back around a little bit.
Yeah. So, Pete, as a noob to all things Blaster Master until now, give us the rundown on what the fuck is different from the original to this one, because I have no idea what the original was.
Well, the original was made in 1989, I believe, by Sunsoft for the original NES. And there have been some other attempts at making another Blaster Master. I know the Genesis had one. I know the PS1 had one. And I think the Game Boy had one. But none of them ever really captured the same kind of gameplay style and the I guess the same appeal. I think what people look back at fondly most about on the original game was the fact that it was the first time you could actually jump in and out of a vehicle and basically have two games in one, like a platforming vehicle shooter and a top-down adventure shooter, kind of like Zelda.
Yeah, even now I was impressed with that. Not many games are doing stuff like that. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and so they announced this one for the 3DS and the Switch, and for me it was a must-buy because I love Blaster. I love the original so much, and I did know that it was kind of a remake for the most part of the original. And I should have told you. I'm sorry.
Very upset.
So, but what is the difference if it's kind of a remake?
Well, and the original didn't have much of a story, and it's certainly all the cutscenes that you get in Blaster Master Zero, the constant storyline, the girl, the android, Eve.
All the terrible writing?
None of that existed in the original.
Okay.
You basically get a little bit of an intro that shows you with a frog that gets into some radioactive goo and then falls down a hole. You chase it down a hole, and there's your machine. And go. There's a little bit more of a backstory when you read the instruction manual, but you get none of that when you play the game.
There's no intro like this one has?
There was an intro, but it was very...
It was what I explained. It has a couple images showing a frog going down a hole. You go down the hole, and then there's the vehicle. And for some reason, you jump in the vehicle and start killing mutants.
See, when I was a kid, I actually assumed the frog turned into the vehicle.
Right.
They never made that clear, so I always assumed that that vehicle was a mechanical, like, frog sort of thing, since it jumped around so much.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
It makes more sense than Blaster Master Zero that you are chasing an android frog that you found, but then are so attached to that you will sacrifice your entire life to chase Fred the Frog.
Yeah.
That is my main issue with the storyline. It's like, what the hell is going on with your devotion to finding an android frog?
He doesn't even know it's an android, though.
All right,
I
so
love the
pet
fact
frog.
that... I mean, I love the fact that they... Well, let's save it for the story section.
All right.
all right, well, let's just jump straight into explaining that each game of the month we rate it based on its graphics, its sound, its control, its fun factor, its story. We generally talk about how challenging it was and give an overall rating that's not necessarily a collection or a medium average of all those scores. It's generally what you rate it outside of that. Like, really, what is the overall score? So, 1 through 5, 1 being terrible, 2 being rough but not a disaster, 3 being acceptable but not noteworthy, 4 being noticeably great, and 5 stands as the best of its contemporaries. So, moving on to graphics. What did you rate it?
I gave it a 2. And it's probably because, pixel aesthetic is huge right now, but it's not just pixel aesthetic. In all the modern games, they have extra tricks to make shit look good.
Mm-hmm.
This is just straight up old school pixel art, which is fine, but I don't know. It's just nothing.
For the same reason, I bumped it up to a 3 because I was like, all right, well, they're clearly trying to make a play to the nostalgia, so they didn't want to veer too far, and I think they did a good job of capturing it looking like it was straight up a Nintendo game.
Well, yeah, that's my question, basically. Does it look exactly the way Blaster Master looked, or is it like new graphics?
Well, that's a good segue point for me, because I actually gave it a 3.5 for the simple reason that nothing really felt out of place.
Yeah.
And like the newer stuff, it all felt like it belonged in that universe. So it felt like it had a cohesive approach to it in the like with keeping within the style of Blaster Master.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this is what Blaster Master would have looked like if it came out closer to the end of the Nintendo run, rather than near the beginning.
Right.
That's a good point.
Right. It definitely doesn't have any flashy tricks. Although I did like the underwater levels when you're playing as a dude not in the ship, because then it has the nice like water reflections on top and the shadows of all the fish and everything. I thought that was interesting.
Oh yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But that was like literally the only time where I was like, oh, they're doing something interesting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like, whatever.
Sound.
Wait, what did you give it?
I gave it a 3.
Okay.
He gave it a 3.5.
All right.
Oh, yeah, let me write this down. I've been logging all these.
In a world where Hyperlight Drifter exists, my tolerance for pixel art stuff is much higher than it probably should be. But like all the animation in that game in Hyperlight Drifter is so smooth. Everything in this is so static and
Yep.
like
Yeah.
just meh.
Yeah. I know. I feel like I was being very generous with you and giving it a 3.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel sort of bad because it's basically an old game, but sort of a new game. But I've never played the old game, so I'm comparing it to all the games that are coming out now.
I know. Well, and I was also thinking, like, what if they did really update the pixel art? Like, it would have been slammed by people just as much.
For
Like,
not staying true to the original. Yeah.
So I feel like they did a good job where it feels exactly like the old, so it doesn't bump you. So that's why I think I gave it a little bit more.
The cutscenes were nicely designed. They weren't animated. They look fine. All right.
Sound.
sound, I think I also gave a 2 as well.
We are on the same page with sound. 2. There was straight up just annoyance.
Yep, definitely some annoying bleeps and bloops. There was one boss where, do you remember the boss that has just like a bunch of like shield orbs around the whole room, and they're creating like the lasers?
Yes.
And it's just like constantly beeping unless you walk through the lasers and they shoot at you. But if you avoid the lasers like you're supposed to, the entire boss fight, you're just listening to beeps. It's so annoying.
Well, and I found like the overworld where you're playing as the little guy, the music like almost never changed, right? It was like a bit the same freaking annoying music every time you went into there, and it really bothered me.
I mean, I didn't even notice enough. I was genuinely listening because I had no notes on the sound. And I was like, I don't remember the sound at all. And then I was like actively listening to the music, be like, I wonder if any of these beats are good. Nothing stuck with me, you know?
Yeah.
I gave it a 3 for 2 reasons. The first reason is I love that they kept the original sound, the
theme.
sound.
Yeah, right.
Second reason is I love that they kept the same sound effects for when you picked up shit and everything from the original.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. Because they could have done anything, you know. But it like reminds you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you give them some credit for that stuff, but there was like the actual like breaking down the other levels and adding more music to, and actually, man, I think.
Oh God, he muted it. Right.
I think those overworld levels on the original, actually, it just kept the same level music playing, so it never switched. So they knew it was, they wanted to make a choice to make new music during that section, but then why didn't they vary it up more often or make it like, I don't know, bring it into something cooler? Also, I did notice the music did though feel exactly from like 1992. Like, did Sunsoft make Battletoads?
No, Trade West did.
Oh, you're right, Trade West did. Anyways, I kept getting a very strong Battletoads vibe from some of the music. I just thought that was interesting, that it felt that much like early Nintendo that I was like, oh shit, that sounds like Battletoads.
Oh, snap.
Anyways.
So I didn't know where to actually put this note, but because the sound is also incredibly annoying, the vibration on the...
Had to turn it off.
Oh, I just realized you could turn it off once I beat the game. But, like, that shit was maxed to the max the whole time. So, like, yesterday and the day before, I was trying to play it at work, and I just felt so self-conscious because it was going off while everyone was working. It's so loud. And then last night, Minnie was trying to sleep, and I was playing in bed, and I could just hear her sighing because, like, I was fighting a boss. Yeah. God, that shit was annoying. They gotta fix that.
Yeah. I absolutely had to turn it off. I thought it was going to actually, like, kind of bust my Switch.
Yeah.
Because it was, like, shaking so hard, and then, like, the way I hold the Switch, it goes against my wedding ring, so it sounds even louder because it's just like, click, 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 click. It's like, fuck.
I know that Drew played Snake Pass, and that also had the vibrations maxed, too, so I wonder if, like, that's just part of the Switch development, that if you just turn it on, it's like automatically at 100%.
That's awful.
In Snake Pass, they patched it. Flashmaster has not done that yet. So that was just a real big nuisance. That wasn't really that big of a nuisance.
I think you could put that under controls, which is our next section.
Yeah, okay.
So controls, like moving the little guy around. What do you think?
I think not good. I think we have a trend here. This is also a number 2.
Oof.
I struggle with these controls like forever.
Yeah.
Number 1, because they don't tell you how to play the game, and I know it's not that difficult, but it took me until like my last day with the game to actually realize there is a button where you can hold to like continuously aim in the direction you're aiming.
Without moving?
Yes.
I never found it.
You can still move, but you stay positioned. So, like, if you're... It allows you to strafe, basically.
Oh, yeah. I know that button. Okay. Well, I was looking for a button like Axiom Verge where it actually you lock your translation completely,
Right.
and then you can aim with your same
like when you're
directional
in
pad.
the ship, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that was only really useful to me on foot, basically. But like once I figured that out, that was probably in the temple or whatever, where you have to go through the gauntlet of all the different enemies before the boss fight. So the entire game, I was struggling with fucking shooting where I wanted to shoot. So, I mean, it's possibly also user error because I didn't look on the main menu on the how to play.
Oh, but even with that, it took me like 2 days of playing to find out where the stupid map was. Because even when you look on the like controls, it never tells you how to access the map.
Yep. And another annoying tidbit, when you go to the fucking pause menu, why doesn't it automatically go to the map page? That's the only thing I was ever looking at when I paused the game.
Yeah.
I'll pick my fucking blaster weapons in the fucking game. I don't need to go to the pause menu. Give me the goddamn map.
Yep.
So I can know where I am. So that was
Fun fact: the original Blastmaster, no map. You had you had to
No map, no save points.
Yeah, no save. You had to
Okay.
beat that all in one go.
All right,
like the entire
7 continues, I believe.
so the entire 6-hour game, 6 continues. Got to do it all in one sitting. No passwords, no nothing.
That makes way more sense because this game was like incredibly easy.
Yeah, they nerfed this game big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was easy.
I mean, even like you could actually get maps, and then it would tell you where the dungeons were with the bad guys. Like half of playing the original Blaster Master, he's like, "All right, here's another thing I can walk into. Is this gonna have a bad guy, or is this the boss or not?" And you would have to go into every one and systematically do a guess and check.
Yeah, which would make it easier / harder. Well, we'll get to that in the story a bit.
Yeah, well, I actually was even worse on the controls. I went down to 1.5 on mine.
Oh, snap.
The couple things, driving under the water,
Oh,
infuriatingly difficult.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then also
Are you talking pre-power up or post-power up?
post power up.
Because both versions sucked.
Yeah. But then the other thing that really bothered me was the bad guys. Like, you'd be driving around. If you ever let one of those fucking worms touch you, they were on you like flies on shit.
Oh, yeah. Those flies suck, man.
There was nothing you could do.
And the little worms, too?
Specifically,
Is that what
the
you said?
worms,
Yeah.
yes. So I went back and looked at the original Blastmaster. Remember, I was like, I do not remember the enemies, like, once they caught up to you, that they would just continue to hit you and take down all your life in, like, one little attack.
Yeah.
No, it didn't happen. Basically, they would be kind of on their route, their path, and they would hit you because you ran into them, and then they would carry on their merry way. But this is like the AI would just stay on you.
Yep.
So basically, you either went through the game never getting hit, or these guys would take you down in one go.
Yeah, that was my method. I didn't attack them. At first, I thought because they're too low for your ship to hit it, so I jumped out and tried to hit him with the guy, but your weapon is way too weak and you can't fucking kill those guys. So then I just spent the whole game avoiding them.
Yeah.
So my control
Here we go, Pete.
5.
was a 3. I gave it a 3 mainly because of, the problems you guys are talking about. The other big thing for me was that they switched the jump button from the original, from B to A, or from A to B.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it really bothered me coming from the original. But I also really liked how they emulated perfectly the way you jump and stuff like that. I thought that was great.
I will say the jumping felt nice.
It did, and then again, I revisited the original Blaster Master to just remember what its physics were like. They actually did improve it. Like, the ship was almost weightless in the original, so when it fell, it didn't like fall like it felt like with enough gravity. So they did tweak the physics a bit in a really good way.
Yeah.
So
speaking of jumping, though, my issue with the jumping, as the dude, when you're in the ship levels, if you're on a platform that looks like it's fucking 2 inches. If you jump off of that, you're immediately dead.
Oh, so annoying.
So fucking annoying.
What was this?
When you barely jump off a ledge as the little dude and you're toast.
Oh yeah, that's like Donkey Kong shit.
Yes.
It was so frustrating.
All right, and one thing that wasn't in the original was you fighting that boss as the little dude.
Oh yeah, I didn't try to fight it. You just run.
Right.
Oh, you do fight.
But then,
you do fight the bosses as a little guy in there.
Oh, I meant like in the not
In the side-scrolling.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
side-scrolling.
Yeah,
Tiny.
fuck that.
Oh, and there's just the platforms that you have to
Yes,
jump up.
and then if you
The only reason I died on that fucking one.
yes, I died like 6 times on it because his little balls that he would shoot would knock you down, and you would not that you'd be dead, and then you'd have to that's the other thing. They, if you die, they do the most annoying thing in video games, which is if you've already watched a cinematic, you should they should not show it, or you should allow you to skip it. That was fucking annoying. So I watched the same cinematic over and over and over again.
Yep. If you're watching the YouTube video, maybe right now or at some point, I'm not going to line it up.
Probably
I
not.
fight a boss over and over again, and you see me skip through the same fucking text over and over and over.
Yeah. God damn, that part sucked. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about. The control. Oh yeah, the controls. Once you got the ability to
Controls in the control section.
well, yeah, but the control thing to write up the walls and upside down the walls.
Oh, yeah. It took me forever to figure out how that even works.
Okay, that is one thing they completely botched. Because in the original one, once you have that, all you do is, if you keep pressing right, it just automatically climbs for you. And it felt good. And as you would transition from left and right and up and down, it just felt right in the original one. You never had to think about it. It just did it. The only time it would get weird is basically if you kept pressing right, and then all of a sudden and then you hit a wall on your right, and then you're going up, and then you hit the ceiling, and now you're going left, you're still pressing right on the original game.
Okay.
So that was the only thing that got weird on the original one. So I think this was their way of trying to like not have that be the problem, but the downside was so much worse, which is like holding down the shoulder button, and then like it just wouldn't climb effectively. So they took out the entire cool feature. I loved that part in the original Blaster Master because you felt like a god once you could like run around everywhere.
Anything,
Yeah, they totally ruined that.
My biggest problem with the wall attachy thing was they literally say, you just use the wall attach button. And I'm like, okay, I'm going into the menus. There's nothing telling me what the buttons do. And I was just like fucking pressing every button. It's like, it's not latching. How do I do this? And you guys knew that this was a fucking thing that you could do in the game.
Right,
I had no
true.
idea. So I was like, do I jump at the wall and like hit a button and it latches onto it? I had no fucking clue.
Oh,
so I was
I didn't
stuck
think
in
about
that room for like 15 extra minutes because I just had no idea how to get up a goddamn wall.
Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I mean, I knew the original game so much that it was like I already knew, like once I passed the ice level, I knew I had to go back all the way to level 1 and go, and I knew exactly where to go. Like I was flying through that game.
I mean, I still flew through it just because it tells you exactly where you need to go.
That's true. Yeah. That would have been even if it did not tell you where to go. That game would have really pissed you off.
Oh yeah, I would not have beat it. I like how easy it was.
Yeah.
Super handholdy. My other only nitpick with it, my other nitpick with the controls was talking about hitboxes again. Like I felt like I was not touching the spikes all the time, but every time I would walk past spikes, I would get hit.
Yeah.
Like on your head too. Like you would jump and you would barely touch the jump button, and it would tell you hit the ceiling. It's like, no, fuck, I did not.
Yeah, and I fell off of bridges, falling into lava and shit all the time because I was taking the turns too tight. And then in the top-down version, yeah. There was a lot of like weird stuff that I just had to get used to on the game. But like, the more you start to understand the shortcomings of the game, I think that's when I started to have a little bit more fun. You know?
Right. Speaking of that, what would you give the fun factor?
I gave it a 3. So, starting out, as I said earlier, I probably would have given it a 1 just because I was frustrated and not super thrilled with it. But the more you play it, you know, you understand how the game works. Like, I usually play all these games. You go into a room and I always have to kill everything before I move on. At a certain point, you realize, like, there are some enemies that are better off left unshot. And especially there's like a nice little stealth section in the game with the guys with the flashlights and stuff. Took me a while to like actually comprehend that I shouldn't try to kill all of them.
Same, yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting destroyed. The difficulty on this game went through the roof. But then I realized they were walking in patterns, and I was like, oh shit, this is actually cool. They're changing it up.
What was your, like, did you use the fire gun and run around like your little arsonist self?
I literally, okay, so that's my other problem, I think, with the game is it never really made me use other weapons. So I basically just stuck with, like, the second from the top, the long range little pea shooter thing the whole time.
Oh, I feel so awful for you.
Even when you were fighting the boss?
Dude, I took down the last fucking boss with that thing.
It's another,
it was really easy.
But it is another part that sucks for you not playing the original, because the original rewards you every time you get a power up. So when your life goes up, and each progressive weapon is more powerful than the next.
Okay, so I guess I was genuinely sort of confused about how all that shit worked.
Right.
Because I thought the more powerful the weapon was, it just used up all my energy faster.
Yeah.
No.
I think a lot of the game assumed that people had played the first one.
Yeah, unfortunately. So
one of its shortcomings, I think.
Basically, your guns have life. So when you pick up enough of those pink or red objects, it fills up that energy, right? Which then unlocks more guns. So if you have enough of that stuff, you then have access to the highest. You have the wave. And in the original, it doesn't give you the option of choosing. It's basically like Contra or any other game.
It's like the top.
Right. So you get one, and it makes you use the next one. Then you get the next one. Then you're forced. So you always know, I'm using the best I have available. And so then if you got hit, you would then lose your gun and go to the weapon down, stepping down from that.
That makes sense. Why did they change that?
I don't know.
Because I didn't understand how the shit worked, and I didn't want to use all my power, so I just stuck with the all pea shooter.
I mean, I know you won't revisit the game, but if basically,
I might now.
If you go through the game with the wave, you can take down all the bosses in like seconds. Like all enemies,
still
everything.
Most of the bosses down in seconds.
That's valid, yeah.
Yeah.
But the wave gun basically just is overpowered.
I mean, is the wave gun? Is that when you're in the car?
No.
Okay, because the one in the car, the most powerful one, that's like the big shock wave thing. That was cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I used that once.
Oh.
Against the big skeleton thing.
Oh.
That was fun. Blew him away immediately.
That's cool. Pete, fun factor?
I gave it a 4 because I guess I wasn't expecting much, but I ended up having a lot of fun with it. And I felt like it. I just felt like I was playing another Blaster Master, you know?
Yeah.
Which means a lot to me, it being my favorite Nintendo game.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, and given all my gripes, I still rated my fun factor a 3. I still enjoyed it. I was frustrated with it at times, but still enjoyed it.
Yep. I mean, I think that sort of speaks volumes that the fun was the highest rated of all three of us, right? No, Pete gave Control like 3.5 or something, but
he gave 4, so that on the fun factors, that was his highest. Yeah.
So it's fun despite all of its shortcomings.
So we already talked about the challenge. We all saying it's easy.
Super easy.
Yeah. Well, let's just move on to the overall scores then.
There's a story.
About the story.
Oh yeah, I skipped over story. Yeah, that was probably the worst part.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I gave it a 1. A 1? Yeah, 1.
I also gave it a 1.
It's bad.
I gave it a 2 because I liked what they did in the beginning, explaining why why there was this world under the ground and all this shit. But
yeah, at least they made an effort. Yeah.
Other than that, it's terrible.
Well, I was glad to hear from you guys that the frog was actually in the original, because I was like, what the fuck is this story? We're going into a demon world to find a frog named Fred?
And just the name Fred, too. Like, as generic, it's like Fred the Frog. That works. Done.
Yep.
Ship it.
What are the characters' names? I don't even remember.
Eve for the android robot girl.
Okay.
It's like, I feel like
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Clever. And the dude, the main guy,
I don't know. his name.
old
They said his name 100 times.
Blaster Master. Actually, I don't have my Switch with me.
Okay.
I took screenshots of some of my favorite writing. Because the writing in this is just so bad.
Yes.
It's just awful.
And the whatever, I don't even get into it. But Pete, you discovered that there's a good ending and a bad ending, which I didn't know.
Oh, right.
And apparently, you and I both got the bad ending.
I got it too.
Yeah.
I beat the game, by the way.
Oh, good.
The bad one.
So what did you need to do to get the good ending?
You needed to beat
Get all the
every.
power-ups.
Yeah, you need to basically explore all the maps and beat everything.
Spoilers, but yeah, because Eve like blows up and she's like, if only he had gotten all the technology. Oh well, self-destruct.
Yeah, that was some weak ass shit.
It didn't even make any sense. Like, I thought she left, and then she's like, she does this whole long monologue about how Earth will never actually be able to survive because there's more mutants that the gun, whatever vehicle, Sophia, would never be able to actually take down, and they just don't know what's coming, basically. So why bother? And she self-destructs and kills herself. It's like, well, that's not very good.
That was fucking lame.
Yeah.
So what's the good ending? Go ahead and spoil it.
I actually don't know what the good ending is.
All right. Do
I
you know?
assume they save the world. And she doesn't explode. The end.
That she doesn't leave, or I don't know. I guess you'll find out, player.
Whatever the happiest version that you can think of, that's what happened.
Yeah, but that game's story is so random. I have no idea what the fuck.
It turns out Eve has been fucking Fred this whole time. And old generic what's-his-face kills himself. Old Blaster Master takes
She's like
a blast to the head.
That chimpanzee at the zoo. You ever see that chimpanzee video at the zoo? Where he has a frog and he's fucking the shit out of its mouth.
No, I've never seen that.
It's on YouTube.
I've seen that.
Oh man, it's absurd.
Yeah. So overall,
I gave it a 2.5.
I gave it a 2.
3 for me.
3. All right.
All right,
That's good. I was nervous this would be like a high 5 for you, and I would feel bad that I didn't ecstatically love your favorite game of all time.
No, it's all right. It was much better playing the original as a kid, having not experienced anything like it before.
Yeah, I
So-
can see that.
So
yeah. They fell short updating it where it needed to be updated, and that was the saddest part.
Everywhere needed updating.
I feel like they did enough love that I can't call it a cash grab, but it is dangerously close to that.
I mean, this was made by Indie Creates, right? They're basically all about cash grabs that seem like love letters at this point. Mighty Number 9.
That game sucked.
Uh-huh. There's something else that they did. I don't remember. Oh, who's the guy that made Mega Man?
oh, the Inafune.
Yeah, he's got Mighty Number 9 was one of his Kickstarters. He had another Kickstarter for like Mighty Number Red or some shit. I don't remember. But they're making that game too, and
Did it get
just as
is that on Kickstarter? And it got
it was
funded?
a while ago. Yeah,
it
and got
was,
funded.
and then it
Stupid.
didn't get funded. It got pulled.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not
it
know that.
got pulled like mid campaign, and I don't know. Maybe they scored a deal or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bloodstained.
Yeah, that
Right.
one.
That actually looks cool, though. That's not the one I was talking about. Azure Striker Gunvolt. That's the one.
Bloodstained is the
Castlevania,
Castlevania
one.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, that actually looks pretty cool. Looks fun.
So we'll remind people, but we need to come up with another game of the month.
Yeah, well, let's figure it out right now.
We would like people
Right
to
now, on
participate. Like, Zelda's got to be winding down for people. Come on.
For sure.
So, Little Nightmares?
I think we should play Little Nightmares.
I think so, too.
That's the one. That's
Yeah?
the one.
Sweet. I've DM'd with the guys over at Tarsier Studios.
We'll let them know it's our game of the
DM'd
month.
like you were running a campaign.
Yep.
You're like, no saving throw, you die.
I don't get this reference.
The Dungeon Master.
Oh, yeah. I've been watching Veep a lot, so I thought DM was a campaign, like, presidential
Wow.
type thing.
Yeah, your mind is elsewhere.
Veep is a good-ass show, by the way.
Yeah?
It's really funny.
We don't talk enough TV here.
No, something you guys should do that I've been doing is I've been keeping a tally of every movie, every TV show I've been watching this year.
Yeah, I have. And it's still a really short list.
Dude, I haven't gone to see a movie in forever.
Since you and I went.
Yeah, since Ghost in the Shell, which is like 3-4 weeks, which is an age for me. I used to go every week, go see a new movie. That was back in college.
I have to get
But
permission now.
I know. Both of you got harder circumstances to go see movies.
You said hard.
I did.
Yeah. It makes it more difficult to blunder.
All right. Pete, you're out.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to find out what everybody's words were.
All right. We're running up to the end. What was yours, Michael?
Mine was Carnival.
Carnival. Did you work it in?
I said it a few times, like probably 2 or 3.
Oof, it's gonna be a tight race then.
What was yours?
You already said your guess, so it didn't count the second time. My word was Arsonist.
You son of a dick.
That is a rule. You get to make one accusation. That's it.
I would like to say, Andy, good job with the words this week.
Yeah.
Did you work in Blunder at all earlier before this?
Yeah, I worked it in a couple times at least.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. See, Andy, this is what you get when you use real words that aren't favored towards the winner.
I was just FaceTiming with a little bit ago, and he has a new way of doing it. He just uses a random word generator.
Good.
That's it.
It's very easy.
All right. Well, tally it up. See who won. Andy,
All right.
do it. So that's it, huh?
Can we tally up at the end of this year who wins and come up with the prize
Sure.
of some sort?
I mean, I have a pretty substantial lead.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the winner has to eat like 4 jalapenos.
The winner? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's make this a game of golf. The person with the lowest score wins.
You know what we have to do? And this is a legitimate way I could lose.
Okay.
Well, we'll be going back in November for our Extra Life campaign.
Ooh.
Lowest total donator has to do the jalapenos.
You mean the lowest of us 3?
Yeah,
Lowest
of us
total?
3. Who gets the least campaign or money donated?
That's a good one. That's a good one, a worthy one.
Look at his smile. Pete has much more of a built-in audience than we do. He's gonna blow us away.
Well, yeah.
No, but we got such a high number last year because you guys jumped in.
Oh, we will not meet last year's number because
Why
that
not?
donator that donated 1,000 to each one of us.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that's
that
not going
really
to happen again.
pumped up.
You found out who that person was, right?
I did,
Yeah.
and I was very grateful. And they turned down my gift, my art gift. And then I gave it to someone else.
How did you find out? Did they come up to you?
No.
Or when you announced they're the winner, they said they don't want it? They came to you?
Somebody else came to me on their behalf and told me who they were.
And said they don't want it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And I was like, well, at least tell me who it is. And then I went and talked to that person on the internet. Because they might not have been in person.
So there's still a chance they might donate again.
Who knows? Tune in this November. Extra Life. JAFMM.
I wish we could actually get a tax credit for donations we encourage. Because I got hit with a pretty big tax bill this year and could have used some more write-offs.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well into 5 figures.
God damn.
5 figures, Jesus. Do you not pay your taxes all year?
Yeah, I did. Well, fair warning, another animation tip. If you get married while you're working at a job and then you switch your W-4 to married, be sure to double check how much they're taking out of federal. Because if it drops by 50%, you're going to get fucked.
Basically, good life tip. If any of your circumstances change, you should probably adjust your taxes.
Well, that was the problem. I did, but it did itself, or it's adjusting way too aggressively. And so I should have been checking basically how much they were taking out of federal and looking at that percentage and noticed, hey, this percentage is really low. I just gave myself a personal raise and I'm not raising an eyebrow. Yeah, well, it bit me in the butt.
Well,
Yeah, there's a downer way to end the episode.
yeah. Taxes, am I right, guys?
All right, Game of the Month, Little Nightmares. It's on PlayStation and Xbox. So join us this month, and we'll get your reviews, and we'll talk about it just like we talked about Blaster Master Zero.
Also, like, legit play it and send us in your comments. I feel like the Zelda
That was a lot of
discussion
fun.
we had was awesome because
Yeah.
everyone had opinions.
Yep. And this game is really exciting. Like, I really think people will enjoy this one, or certainly it will be a conversation piece, regardless if you like it or not.
Yep. I'm so excited. Outlast 2 came out today. More scary games. Little Nightmares is supposed to be surprisingly creepy. Like, this whole time I've been looking at it, it's like, this doesn't look scary. But all the reviews are like, it's actually
This is a good month.
creepy.
And because I want to play Wonder Boy, too.
Yep. I still have to play Horizon.
Oh, yeah. Mike Thurmaier, director of a few Blue Sky movies, is saying how much he loves Horizon.
Yep. Can't wait to get back to it. All right, then.
Okay, well, this has been just a few more minutes podcast. 3 veterans of the animation and video game industry talking about exactly that. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Kazoo, zoo, zoo.